Hey everybody, it's bonus stuff, and we just got done reviewing Furiosa of Mad Max Saga. So go check out that review. But if there's two things you know about Mad Max, it's Australia and it's cars, car violence. So today we're gonna look at
Horrific car
most-
crashes all around America.
I wish the most famous cars in movie history and judge
Oh,
is
I'm
the
not-
best.
Okay, I
on,
do know all
no.
these. I didn't know if I know all these or not, except for the
Yeah, I
Aston
tried-
Martin. I don't know that one.
It's James
That's
Bond's
James
car.
Bond's car.
Okay.
So yeah, I tried to do it where everyone knew him. Jared is getting his dice, I believe. Is that
Oh
true, Jared?
my, Jared.
Still missing in the
Still
ether.
missing.
I got a coin somewhere. Or
Coin it up.
Someone's got a coin somewhere.
I got-
Oh, he's got the app.
I got
Let's
the
do the
coin
end.
flipper.
All right, so we're ready. We're gonna go with the first matchup, which is Mad Max, the last of the V8 interceptors, his customized Ford Falcon against Herbie, the Love Bug.
The only touchstone I have for Herbie is the Lindsay Lohan movie.
Fully
Yeah.
loaded.
How'd you like that?
Sure, I don't remember it in the slightest. I did watch it multiple times though, but yeah, definitely the Interceptor over poor little Herbie.
Okay, so if we're talking about a diesel love bug, that's a whole different story. But this is Herbie, so I'm going to go with the Interceptor.
Hey, Jared.
I'm gonna be nice and go with the old Herbie.
Wow.
All right. Well, I guess you got to go with the Interceptor, right? Because
Yeah, I
Herbie,
mean-
he's just a
Poor
little,
little
guy.
guy.
He's trying,
Just
but
a
he's
little
not.
guy,
He's not
guy.
getting far.
So the Aston Martin DB5 is James Bond's car, fully loaded with gadgets sometimes in the older movies and just really cool in the newer movies. And that, of course, is the Ecto-1, which is the Ghostbusters main rides. What you got, Jared?
Never cared for it. I don't even like Ghostbusters, but that Aston Martin, sexy.
It's super sexy.
Oh my.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Aston Martin because the Ecto 1 is basically just a Studebaker, isn't it?
It's a weird car. It's like a Cadillac something. I don't know.
I'm
I
going with.
thought it was like a hearse or something too.
It kind of does look like one. I'm going with the Ecto one from the newer movie, not the newest movie, but the one before where they get the like little side gunner seats and they're like. I like that.
That is cool.
was
And
very
it does
satisfying.
have that siren that we like. But Michael's kind of turned it. I'm gonna go Ecto 1, so someone's gonna have to
Oh.
flip.
The coin
You shoulda
flip.
had-
Heads for Aston Martin, tails for Ecto
Oh,
1.
this is so weird to do backwards. Flipping. It's a little blurry.
Which one's the head? I
Heads.
think that's the head. Okay.
It's head.
James Bond has won.
You should have had the
Boo.
Dragula from Rob Zombie.
Next we have the Batmobile. When Batman's in a car, it's a mobile.
Which one though?
Any one you
I was
want.
gonna say,
The
that's
best
the
one.
question.
That's not
Mm.
You
fair.
want the tumbler? You can have the tumbler. And then we have Bumblebee, the Transformer from the movies. This one's the movies because this is focusing on movie vehicles. So
Quick question: did you
the
guys enjoy the
Z28
Tumbler?
Camaro.
No,
No. Okay, thank you.
it's kind of
It was
boring.
all right. Yeah, just
I like.
honestly, I love Michael Keaton's.
I was gonna say the Batmobile that does the grappling hook that pulls it up the wall. I'm like, it's goofy, but I really enjoyed it. And it has the weird wings.
Oh, the George Clooney one.
Yeah,
Okay, I will admit that the Batmobile looks cool in both of those.
it's goofy,
movies,
but I liked when he went and he's driving up the wall and they're just like,
Yeah, I'll go with the Batmobile.
The Batmobile, okay.
I don't have a lot
Yeah.
of touchstones for Bumblebee. I never saw the movie. I saw the
You
old
never saw
Transformers movie, but I didn't see Bumblebee itself.
And that
Um,
terrible Chevy Camaro is from that first movie. Oh,
Why don't you like it?
I like it.
I like
it's
it.
not a good car, guys.
But it's
But
cool looking.
Yeah, it's a
It's better than a
Bumblebee.
Volkswagen Bug, which
No, those last forever.
But I'd
Um,
probably go Batmobile, yeah.
Yeah, I like Transformers, but I've never been a Bumblebee fan.
If
Bumblebee
I
too
would
now?
have put Optimus on this, would you have voted
Oh,
for
yeah,
Optimus?
well,
Yeah,
Okay. But
Hmm.
he's not really a car, guys. He's a human being. Bumblebee don't talk, so I put him on. Speaking of talking
Mm.
cars, Lightning McQueen. He's kind of a Camaro, I guess.
Wow.
And then the
like-
DeLorean.
I don't know what
No,
Lightning
Jared.
McQueen is.
Jarrett, wow.
He's kind of
Wow.
a cross between like a Dodge Viper and a
Yeah, he's
Camaro.
weird looking,
Yeah.
But
The
also,
thing is, both of those cars are better than a DeLorean.
But the DeLorean is the coolest car.
It
in
is the
movie
coolest looking
history,
car,
so-
but it is legendarily a terrible, terrible car.
We're not going off of the real.
yeah, we're going off
Cars,
movies,
though.
Thomas.
Going off the movie
They get as many as
cars.
they want.
It can
Damn it.
fly, Thomas. It can fly.
Dude, it
You know
can
what?
hit 88
know-
miles per hour, dude.
Yeah,
That's
no, it
impressive.
can't. No, it cannot. I'm gonna go with the DeLorean, even though it failed on Jerry Seinfeld when he tried to do
Oh,
yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
coffee. It basically explodes.
Nice.
Who was the comedian in that one?
Patton Oswalt, I think.
Yeah, Pat knows.
Oh yeah, it had to be. Not I. Lightning McQueen is kind of just there. He's not really
If it was Doc,
the
I'd
best
say Doc,
character.
but
Yeah, the DeLorean.
Yeah, I got no love for Lightning McQueen.
Oh my
Whoa!
god.
Wow.
What did he do? All right, so we get the Interceptor versus the Aston Martin. The one down for the Interceptor is it did kind of get destroyed in Fury Road really fast.
yeah, and everybody cried.
Yeah.
I didn't cry. I'm still going with the Aston Martin.
All right.
Nah,
Nice.
I'm
I'm,
gonna go. I'm gonna go with the Interceptor.
I'm the muscle car man. Give me that interceptor.
And I'll go with the Aston Martin. Okay, so we got another
Dang.
tie.
Coin flipping. Here she comes. All right, see if I can get more centered. This is so hard to do centered. Everything's backwards. Finger goes that way. Boom. Oh wait, we didn't say what it was. What are we doing?
Interceptor heads, Aston Martin tails. We'll
All
just
right.
go
It landed
Top to
on
bottom.
tails.
tails.
Yeah.
James Bond wins this round. So now, two really cool cars.
Oh,
The
Mm.
Batmobile versus the DeLorean.
I have more love for the Batmobile. I don't really care for
Yeah.
the DeLorean.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with the Batmobile.
I'm agreeing with you there, just because I feel like that's one of the few movie cars that could trump the DeLorean is Batmobile.
Dang, I'll give the one to the DeLorean. So, all right. So our final matchup: James
the
Bond
same car,
versus
one's dark.
Batman. Super spy versus superhero. What do we got?
I'm gonna go with Batman or Batmobile.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah,
beat it.
All right.
just feel like you don't beat
Bat-
the Batmobile, man.
Just can't beat the Batmobile. What's the best Batmobile? Is it Affleck's?
That would be
Can we say the animated series?
Well, if we're going animated series, I'd say the animated series, but
I
of
would-
the movies.
I
Out of
would
the
go with-
movies?
I would go with Keaton's. Keaton's is pretty dope.
yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got that weird thing in the front.
Got the wing. I got the turbine engine and the massive wing in the back.
I don't know actually.
Okay, I really do like George Clooney's Batmobile. It's ridiculous, but it
That
looks
weird-
cool.
The
It,
weird
it,
one
it looks so ridiculous, but it looks really
Oh,
cool.
man. That movie.
What about the
Is it-
'60s one?
I don't really care for that one all that much, to be honest with you.
Turn-
People
Little
freak out about it, but it's-
Convertible action.
Robert
Yeah.
Pattinson's was just like a
oh, I
muscle
like
car,
that
right?
one. That one is nice.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson's was like the Interceptor. from
Yeah.
Batman
Yeah.
style.
Yeah, I don't know which
Nothing
one
wrong
would be
with
the
that.
best.
So you
I
like
go with the
60s one,
60s.
Drew?
Yeah, I like that one.
I like the color too. It's black.
Yeah.
And
The red.
red. Mhm.
Luna.
Dude, the old movies from like the 30s, they just drive like this really old Cadillac. It's funny. All right, so that was our little game. Then we go to the news. It was a tough week for Star Wars, guys. Or we should say for Disney, not for Star Wars, just for Disney. So Disney slashed a bunch of Pixar jobs because Pixar hasn't had a hit in a long time. And then they spoiled the Acolyte for people.
Really?
It's not a big spoiler, but if people notice that if you watch the trailer with the subtitles on, it gives you a name of a character that we didn't know, and it's another character. I don't want to spoil it for people who actually care, but it just has to do with character names. We'll say that. So
text it in the chat. I want to know.
it's not that exciting. You'll be kind of disappointed.
Did you see like
okay.
part of the trailer with it? like a lot of the lightsaber effects weren't finished yet.
Really?
Did you see that? Yeah,
I didn't see it.
they're like wielding like the half sabers that they have, and then they cut to like the post production and they have the full lightsaber. I'm just like, don't show that. That breaks like all the movie magic right there.
Well, another bad thing that happened was they showed off the Jedi whip or the lightsaber
The light
whip.
whip, yeah.
It looks
They showed one?
terrible. So he like ignites the lightsaber and it's like fine, but then he like goes like this and it starts to jiggle. It looks terrible. I was like, that's the worst thing in Star Wars.
There's
They coulda just-
there's an impotence joke right there, but all right.
They could have just reused the assets from Iron Man 2. That would look fine.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
because in the comics, that's kind of what the Jedi whip is. It's like this chain
Yeah.
that has like ion power on it, but this
Well,
one looks ridiculous.
And I'm sorry, but like the behind the scenes stuff just looks ridiculous with the lightsabers. And it's not like the prequel stuff where you had Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor just like beating the crap out of each other with the lightsabers, which look awesome.
Mhm.
This just looks like it would be us in our backyard with those lightsabers we got from
plastic ones.
Target. Yeah, like zoom.
Dude, it should have been
Zoom.
those. That would have been awesome.
And then there's a rumor going around. I don't know if this is real, but you know the movie they're making about the Dawn of the Jedi.
Yeah.
The rumored title for it is Jedi Prime. So it makes it sound like a Transformers movie.
Maybe Optimus is a Jedi.
Maybe he is.
He's
finally
pretty
know.
wise.
He has like a cloak on, and he's.
He's got that axe instead
Dude,
of a lightsaber.
you guys remember that movie with Megatron? He has like the poncho on. So cool. That's the coolest visual I've ever seen.
Wasn't that the second
That's so
one?
cool.
Yes, it's Revenge of the Fallen. Yeah. he's
So
out in the
cool.
desert.
Disney did have one good news for it though. X-Men 97 was a big hit with the critics on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got like a 99% the last time I checked.
Oh, they
which
should have
is-
done 97.
I know. Come on, guys. get
Someone down it a little bit.
Yeah,
But
let me
it's like
log
the
in real
highest-
quick.
Highest rated Disney Marvel show they've done. Me and Jared watched it. We thought it was really well. I thought it was really. I don't really know Jared's thoughts on it, but did you like it, Jared?
Yeah, I really liked it. It was emotional at some point. Like in the midpoint, I was like, dang, that's pretty sad. And
Yeah.
then, it was really good.
It was great. It was the best thing I think Marvel's done in a long time since like Spider-Man Far From Home. But is that even them? I mean, Sony's terrible too, so I can't figure out why that movie was good. But yeah, X-Men 97, really cool. And you know what was cool? That I didn't love the animation on it, but the action was great. And then there was that scene where Wolverine and Nightcrawler are fighting those robot zombie dudes, and that scene was freaking awesome. So even Rogue had really cool fight scenes.
Yeah.
Jubilee got the fight at the end, so that was pretty cool.
And
just really-
I like the references, like the guys you see in the background, like the superheroes.
Yeah, tons of crossovers for like Avengers and Spider-Man and stuff. So that was really cool. Oh, I forgot to mention Doctor Who didn't do too good for Disney either. It's like the lowest rated debut of a Doctor. And then
Well, I mean, they called out like all of their fan base saying that they're stupid, but you know, that's why would that have an effect?
That doesn't bring people in.
Yeah. What?
they hate watching Thomas. They like to hate watch it. So usually we talk about the stuff going on with games, but this time we're going to talk about the people who cover the games because one story, IGN acquired a bunch of little websites, Gamer Network, which the one I recognize was Eurogamer on there. So they're expected to fire a bunch of people and sell or close these sites because they compete with IGN. So why have them open? They also closed some earlier, so that's why they're saying that. That's why they're speculating that they're going to close a lot of these. And then there's this guy called Grums. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's done a lot of good work on the Sweet Baby Inc. stuff. He's the guy that kind of brought that out. And then what happened with Helldivers and stuff like that. So he's done a lot of this good reporting. Well, he got doxxed by a journalist in the industry. They like told him, his address and stuff, and one of them like put a bounty on his head, which is illegal. You're not allowed to do that. But yeah, so this it's just there's a big old war going on during in the gaming journalism industry. IGN's kind of the big dog left in buying these studios. It looks like they're gonna survive just by might of their power of their money, and
It's a lot of money to just like give everything a 7, but okay, whatever.
I mean, that's part of it, but so yeah, lots of stuff going on with journalism. Most people get their gaming news from YouTube now, from YouTubers and stuff like that. So that's kind of why the gaming journalism is hurting.
Aaron
and they're-
Hansen. No,
they're kind of lashing out on YouTube. There was a report where someone was like, "Yeah, YouTube has ruined it for us," and we go to training for journalism in school and stuff like that, and these YouTube guys are taking our stuff. It's like, whatever, dude. And then
You've got autocorrect, and you have what do you call it? Not synonyms, but a thesaurus. Like, cool. I'm a journalist now. I've got a camera phone. I can do whatever I want.
And then there's just the last bit of news I had was Stellar Blade actually came out with a patch called the uncensored version, I think it was called.
Heard about that.
there is justice in this world, I guess.
Yeah. So all the fans are like, yeah. So gives you a couple of skimpy outfits. It's not like they're not nude or anything, it's just skimpier.
Amen, brother. Amen.
And then Helldivers still hasn't recovered from that whole drama that's going on. They saw their numbers fall down a little bit. Trailers this week. Did you guys see the new Deadpool Wolverine one?
No, you said something about it. I didn't even know there was a new one out.
It's not
Yeah, I don't think I
much
watched it.
longer than that first one. It's just kind of got more Deadpool and Wolverine. I know you guys go to Alamo a lot, but at Cinemark, you know how they do those thing where they tell you to shut off your phone and stuff. It's like the Wolverine and Deadpool are doing it now. I don't know if you guys saw that one.
We had that made me sad. They had the guy that played Toe Cutter and Morton Joe. They replayed the old one from Fury Road about shutting off your phones, and I just got sad. I'm like, no, he's not around anymore. So, oh,
What else was there? There was this trailer for this movie. It was like, it looked like a Korean. Was it Korean? It looked like a Korean like action movie on a train. And I'm watching it, and it's like this is the new level of violence and stuff like that. So I'm watching this, and then I totally missed the title. I'm like, I'm watching it. Where's the title? Like, it was crazy.
I haven't heard anything about that.
That was
They had
the
a
movie.
tr-
It was just 2-3
Yeah.
minutes long.
It's like, what the heck? I forgot that Furiosa was rated R, so I was in there, and they start showing these red band trailers, and I'm like, what? What's
Okay.
going on?
Cover your eyes, children. Run.
I'm
It's
sorry,
just-
but when Everything Everywhere All at Once won Best Picture, A24 got way too much money for their marketing department. All I'm seeing is advertisements for Maxine and Civil War, and I'm like, guys, stop! Like, just stop with the marketing. Like, you guys aren't A24 anymore. This is getting ridiculous. Just.
Lastly, there was a trailer for the new Beverly Hill Cops, Axel F. I didn't think it looked bad. I was like, all right.
They got Judge Reinhold back.
Yeah.
That's so
It was weird.
Really?
Yeah,
I was like, oh, this looks fine. I mean, it might be okay.
got both of the cops back. If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
both of the cops are back. What's his name? Reiser? Paul
Mhm.
Reiser. He's
Yeah, Paul
back.
Reiser.
Yep. So
Michael,
yeah,
have you seen Beverly Hills Cop?
Nope.
you should watch at least the first one.
It did not age well.
Hmm.
This,
That's Eddie Murphy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like none of his stuff aged well, but
I like it. I
funny.
think 48 Hours is better.
Yeah, that is a good one.
But
Well,
yeah,
and I'm sorry, but Beverly Hills Cop did not need 2 other sequels besides this one too. So
true, yeah. I've never seen the third one. Everyone says it's terrible.
I
but
haven't seen it either.
The second one's crazy, man. It's like full on action. I'm like, whoa. But yeah, would definitely watch the first one again, but I think that's all I got for the news. So why don't we go into our homework? Michael, did you have Star Trek this time?
I did not have Star Trek because at the
Just
beginning,
give it up. Just
It's-
leave it.
What's
Just
the excuses this time, Michael?
dude, I can't. I have been looking forward to Memorial Day weekend for several months now. I was like, an extra day on the weekend. I'm just gonna take off a day of sleep. I'm gonna do nothing. I have never been so busy in my gosh darn tootin' life. I've had just been going all weekend, and now it's already the end of Monday, and I'm very sad.
How many birthday parties did you have to go to?
Didn't go to any birthday parties, but everyone's like, "Hey, we should cook out. You want to cook out?" This other group, "Hey, you want to cook out? Hey, you want to cook it
Let's
up?"
all
Like there's
cook
cookouts
outs.
everywhere, which I appreciate. I had a good time. It was fun, but it's just like, I did watch a couple new things apart from finishing the long saga that was Super, but I did not
Oh,
get Star
yeah.
Trek. My plan was to continue Star Trek
Mm.
next week, hopefully get back on normal schedule, and be good. But no, I did not watch Star Trek.
Well, do you want to tell us about Super?
I can tell you about Super, sure. I don't remember where we left off last time. It doesn't really matter.
There
'cause
was
'cause
only,
it's over
like-
now. How do you know more?
there's like 4 or 5
10
episodes left.
10 episodes?
Oh,
I
10?
I
thought?
think there were 10 last when I left off, but all that really happened. Okay, I will say this: Android 17 MVP. Like he comes in there, he does some work in that freaking arena. Like, and it's enjoyable in Super because all the other ones are just like, oh, you're better now, you're better now, you're better now, you're better now, you're better now. But it's 17 is like, oh, I know my limitations. I have to work around it and actually think. Apart from all these other bimbos with muscles punch each other in the face. So his stuff I thought was very enjoyable. He actually put up a fight, did all this cool stuff. Then him and okay, so this is several things about the ending of this show. And dear God, like I said, I made predictions. I was like, hey, I bet you Goku and the little tiny dudes that rule the universe, they made a deal. They were like, no one's actually going to get deleted. It's just to push everyone to their limits so Goku can have the best fight he can. That's what they're doing. Of course, that didn't pan out in the slightest. We'll get to that in a minute. And then another issue from the beginning was like, hey, why are they bringing Frieza into this? There's got to be some reason for Frieza to be in this. Frieza's utterly useless the entire tournament. 100% useless. Does nothing. Whines. I apologize to whoever the voice actor is, but the ha-ha-has of Frieza are beyond awful. I don't know if you guys remember what it sounds like, but it is grating to the eardrums and the brain of when he goes. That's pretty much what it is. Just and it's so loud and so consistent. It's just this. It's like they just took one and just.
I feel like they tried to cast someone that was like the abridged, but
True.
they did not.
They did not succeed.
It was not for the better.
Terrible. So anyway, there were some not too bad parts, but like I said, with 17. But then we get to the last 3 episodes, and I was like, all right, we had finished Punch in the Bag as we did. I think that's when I finished it. Was it? No, yeah. And so I came home and I was like, I'm gonna finish the last 3 episodes. Super. Start the first one. This is just Goku and Jiren. Everyone else is out, or so we think. Everyone else is out. And it's just Goku and Jiren going at it. You know, it's doing the thing of Super where one's better than the other's better. You get the backstory of Jiren. He's like, oh, now I'm pissed because someone told me to fight better, so now I will. And that happens about 6 or 7 times. And then it comes to a point where like, okay, Goku, this is it. Goku's better than him. He's knocked him down. Jiren can't even lift a finger anymore. And then Goku has like some like aneurysm or seizure because he's going beyond power. It's just convenient timing to knock Goku off. So then Jiren's like, okay, well now you're over, and he knocks him off the thing, and Goku's falling to end the tournament. And then
I'm sorry. Oh, you gone beyond Super Saiyan stroke.
yeah, Super Saiyan stroke.
that heart issue's back, Goku. No,
That's what I
Oh,
wondered for a
that
second.
issue.
I literally wondered.
But it was grape flavored.
But it literally like I was this close because this was the end of episode 2 of the 3 that I had left. So this was episode 4 last, and Goku's falling out. There's maybe 3 minutes left in the episode, and I was literally like had my phone in my hand because I was like, okay, these last 3 episodes, good, I'm in. Okay, that's fine. Everyone else sucked. There are a few good points, but this is actually enjoyable. And then literally I sent the Chris Hemsworth like bursting out laughing like this because I literally had tears in my eyes from how hard I was laughing because Thomas, Jiren knocks Goku off. Everyone else is gone. Like these two have been doing god level explosions, even though they're not allowed to fly, but everyone's floating around for no reason. Like they have destroyed the arena to rubble and they're just bouncing off rocks at this point. And so Jiren knocks Goku off to lose the thing. You're thinking, okay, so what's gonna happen? Who knows? Be some weird mixture thing. But I thought the fight was gonna end in a tie. I was like, is Goku gonna catch himself? Something? Don't know. No, some gust of wind apparently knocks him up, and you're like, what the heck was that? And just chilling on the rock in the bottom is Frieza and Android 17, just sitting there for the past 6 or 7 episodes under the stage, just waiting to see what's gonna happen. And dear God, I could not have been laughing harder or crying more at this. And like, I was like, what a stupid development. Like they both supposedly were supposed to have died, and they're just sitting on a rock playing like rock paper scissors or something. I don't know. They're playing patty cake down there, and then they decided to join back in the fight. And then it just, I like, this is what I'm guessing this whole thing was, because all they kept saying throughout the thing, Goku gets all of his enemies, they're gonna be friends again. Jiren is like all lonesome, blah blah blah. He fights this by himself. But Goku, he got Vegeta, he didn't get Raditz. Raditz is dead. He got Piccolo, he got Tien, he got all these enemies he had. Now they're his friends. Yay. And so what does the show have to do, Thomas? They have to end the fight in the show with Goku and Frieza teaming up against Jiren, fighting side by side against this villain of the tournament. And it was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It's like Frieza is the bad guy. There's no, but then then the whole ending happens. So the ending happens. 17's actually the only one left because Frieza and Goku take Jiren down and do like a head-banging bomb swirl to the thing. Who cares? And so 17's the only one left there. And so the whole reward for the tournament was the planet-sized Super Dragon Balls, and you get one wish. And so 17's there, and his wish was supposedly going to be a boat so he could take his family on a cruise. Strange and interesting. But then he
You
decides
can buy a boat.
100%.
You need to
Or
wish for a
use
boat.
the Earth
He's a
Dragon
robot,
Balls.
man.
You have Earth Dragon Balls, which are much easier than giant planet-sized Dragon Balls. And so it comes out to him, and he goes, you know what? I want to bring back all the universes that were destroyed today, and we're going to live happily ever after. And the little Emperor, tiny bug-headed eyed men are like, are you sure? And they're like, yes, do it. Boom. And then that happens. Then they force explain within 5 minutes that was their plan all along, that if whoever was the last person alive didn't make that wish and come to the good realization of being a part of the universe, then they were going to destroy all of reality itself. And you're like, okay, this show has reached a new utter level of low. So now we take back from back where I was like, Goku's an idiot and he's excited for a tournament that's going to ruin, I guess, only like 7 other universes because they only put 8 in a tournament. It was all 100%. Like, he didn't give a rat's fart about it. And it's just like, this show is not these characters. This show is terrible. Frieza, Whis just bops him on the head and he's back to life. Who gave him that power? I don't know. And so then it ends with, but we'll see more of Vegeta and Goku and more Dragon Ball. And Frieza's there with his army again. And you're like, we're just going to redo Namek. We're just going to redo Dragon Ball Z season 3 through whatever, 6 or 5, 4, whatever it is. This show is horrible. I hope it gets uncanonized very soon and they just wipe it from existence.
But Michael, don't you want to watch the movies now?
I do want to watch Broly. I've heard superheroes are
Broly's
great,
good.
but everyone says Broly's amazing. It has nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with this. I don't want anything to do with this.
I
This
hope
is
we didn't
over.
overhype it.
I know, me too.
I'm
I
not expecting it to be like mind blowing, but I've heard the
Yeah.
art's amazing. I'm kind of going where Alex is like, the art's amazing, and he's like, story is cool. I'm like, cool. So that's where I'm
Jared,
going in. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. But this show, anything compared to this show is just astounding to me. Dear
Jared,
Lord.
you know where the manga goes, right?
Yeah.
Because there's like a wizard they're fighting or something. Isn't there
Well,
like 2
first-
more villains?
There's like 3.
Oh.
I'll spoil it because I think it's pretty much dead for Michael. But
Yeah,
first
go
they
for it.
fight a destroyer who's like, he's not, like Beerus is like, it has to bring balance to the universe. He doesn't do it out of like malicious intent. There's a destroyer that's just like evil, and so they fight him. And then there's the second one is some dude. I think they bring the truffles back, like what Baby is, but in this
Oh.
canon universe.
What the
And I think
hell
they
are you
fight
talking
him.
about?
I think
Me
they
too.
fight him. And then Frieza gets an upgrade, Michael. I'll just say that.
That
He
is
gets another up.
so
Frieza
absurd.
does.
You are taking perfection and just splattering it across a garbage stain of toilets.
So
You don't like Frieza
Goku-
Gold?
so
No.
Goku's
No.
Ultra Instinct, like I said, is the power of angels, and then Vegeta gets a destroyer power, and so of course Frieza needs Frieza Black,
Dude.
and that's what's the most up to date thing.
I don't
Oh
even know
my
what
god.
we're talking about
Dude,
anymore.
it's so bad. This show is purely bad. There are very the only plus sides to this are Whis and Beerus, honestly. Like those two characters. Everything else in this show, even the slightly okay stuff, can just go. This show is horrible. I'm so glad it's over. I started My Hero, which we'll get to in a few seconds. I won't say anything about it, but I started it. It's just like instantaneously. I'm like, yes, dear God, something with actual quality and enjoyment. But Super needs to be forgotten. It's terrible. That's it. It's over.
Sad story of Super.
I just can't believe I was because I was like, we're gonna get at least a normal Dragon Ball Z ending. It's just gonna be the fight. There's something interesting will probably happen. Maybe they'll tie. Who knows? Then something's gonna happen. But no, Frieza and 17 were just down there holding hands on a rock. And when they popped up, I mean, I literally could not stop laughing I was in my living room by myself at 12:30 at night, and I was just dying laughing on the couch. And my dogs were like, "What the heck is wrong with you?" Like, you have no idea. They've been sitting on a rock. Oh, anyway, Super's over. Thank God for that.
Master's gone insane.
Super bad.
Before we get to My Hero, we'll do another not so enjoyable thing. So you did bring up Doctor Who. I did watch the first episode of the season of Doctor Who because they had the special, which is I guess so I had already seen that one. That was
The
the
Christmas
first,
special?
Yeah, that was the first episode, and then this next one was called Space Babies.
Space
so
Babies.
The Doctor and Ruby, and this is like I said before. Like I actually like the new Doctor so far. The new companion is still kind of. It feels very like teen showy, like kind of like she's not there as a character, she's there as like an eyeball, and that's not really what Doctor Who normally is, or not as an eyeball. What? I don't know why I said eyeball. As like
I don't know why you said that.
It felt right to me. You know what I'm trying to say though.
Even Michael
Yeah.
doesn't like his own words.
like the
There's
audience.
the
What's
audience
the word for
perspective.
that? Perspective.
Yeah,
That's what she is. I can't think of what that word is for that character, but that's what she is. But which is kind of sad, which I was thinking while I was watching this episode, because a lot of the stuff through Doctor Who, you know, they meet the Doctor, the new companion, whoever it is, and like it's the mystery of the Doctor to them. It's them learning about who he is and what he is. And this one, within 5 minutes, like, hi, I've got 2 hearts. I'm from Gallifrey. Gallifrey's gone, and we're gonna go over here. This is the key to my TARDIS. There you go. It's like all this stuff is earned throughout a companion's career, we'll say. But it's like he literally told her everything right off the bat, and I'm like, there's such fun moments whenever the companion's like, wait, what? You have 2 hearts? You're what? You're not human? What are you talking about? Or like I don't know. It's just it was all bombshell in this one episode of all the information past that's happened. I will say, like, the episode wasn't terrible. It was stupid. It was about a space station that got stuck out of it's just stuck in space. And all of the babies got glitched and didn't grow up physically, but learned to like talk and stuff. So it's just basically Boss Baby on a space station. And then there's
Baby geniuses.
and
Baby
then
genius.
where it got really stupid was they had a whole like nose blowing scene where the babies are getting their nose blown. Very stupid. Yes, I know. It's basically watching like PBS version of Doctor Who, and so they literally created the Boogie Monster. And yes, I mean that exactly as I said that. All of their boogers were collected into a monster. But then the Doctor wanted to save the monster because everyone is unique and special and deserves to live. And then another stupid line. He goes, like, they first get in, and this big booger monster, as you find out later, is coming at them. And the Doctor goes, run. So he turns, him and Ruby run off. And they get into safety, and he goes, why did I run? I don't understand why I ran. I'm like, that's all the Doctor does. Like, I don't know where you've been for 50 seasons, but the Doctor runs. That's what, like, David Tennant's one of his main words is probably just run. And he acted like he never runs. That was real dumb. There are a few hints that I'm enjoying. They're playing with an overarching story with Ruby, which I enjoy. I like to have not just these monster of the week, even though that's what this was, but I like the idea of them building on something else. They are doing that, but apart from that, this episode was it wasn't like there were parts I scoffed at, but there were parts I was also interested in. But it's like I wouldn't say it was good, unfortunately. So
My-
not a great start for Doctor Who.
Michael,
Yes,
I
sir.
try to defend Doctor Who to, especially these two hooligans right here, because they have no interest in watching Doctor Who pretty much ever.
I watched 2 seasons.
I know, but the thing is, you have no interest in going beyond that, though,
No.
right? Exactly. See, and
I
I try,
watched the Magic School Bus as a kid.
so I try to like defend Doctor Who because I do enjoy Doctor Who. But if I was like on the fence and I was handed that explanation
Yeah.
for an episode,
Yeah.
probably would have never touched Doctor Who ever again.
I mean,
So-
Well,
I'm
from my
not-
perspective, Doctor Who has never been serious sounding or like
Matt
has
Smith.
given off
Matt Smith
like
was 100% serious
seriousness.
sounding.
So when I hear this, I'm like, that's Doctor Who, right? That's not much different.
No, see, because there was this peak whenever Matt Smith's 3 seasons were going, and they had these incredibly intricate storylines that built from beginning of a season to the end, and like peppered throughout all. Even sometimes you didn't even realize it until the last episode. And you're like, that was this and that was all my brain explosions. And they have these great monologues and these great things whenever. And it's the same thing as the end of we talked about with Furiosa. There's a speech in Furiosa which I didn't care for, Jared. Spoilers. But there's a point in Doctor Who where he goes up and the baby's like, "Wait, am I not correct? Didn't I not grow up right? Whatever." And so he tries to give this whole speech, and obviously the baby wasn't supposed to grow up like a baby. The baby's supposed to grow up to be a person. But like, no, you're fine just the way you are. The booger monster's fine too. I'm like, one, you're trying to do this speech when this is only the second episode we've seen you. Like, you're a new doctor. You're acting very different. You're saying you don't run. All doctors run. Get over it. And then they do that, and I just hate that kind of like unearned speech time. Speech time deserves to be earned. It should be earned, in my opinion. It's just unearned speech time.
And it was on the first episode.
Well, technically second with him, but
Oh.
like I said, I do like them. I like them as characters a lot. I like her story. She's an orphan. They don't know anything about her. They're hinting towards her past, and everything, and who dropped her off. Blah 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 blah. But it's also like memories hitting the doctor, and he's like, things are changing. Oh, they also made the dumbest joke. The most pointless, dumbest joke. It was so dumb. I was like, why did we waste our time doing this? Because so he's showing her first about time travel, and she's like, no way. And so he goes back 150 million years. Something like that. She's like, are there gonna be dinosaurs? He's like, possibly, maybe let's go out the door. She's like, what if I step on a butterfly and change everything? Butterfly effect. And he goes, oh, who steps on a butterfly? No one's gonna step on a butterfly. You see a butterfly, you don't go, oh, step on it. And they laughed at it for a little bit. And she literally walks out, steps on a butterfly, turns into a lizard person, and then he picks up the butterfly and somehow, don't understand, he heals the butterfly, flies
Oh,
off,
yeah.
and she goes back to a human. But there was no reason for this. It was apparently a joke. I don't think anyone probably thought it was funny, but I was like, what was the point of that? I don't know. Why not just go enjoy the time frame of what you're going in and not make some silly, goofy butterfly? I don't know. I didn't care for it, obviously, but I didn't hate it. So I'm not a Doctor Who
Hopeful?
sympathizer anymore. I'm not a
Oh.
Doctor Who hopeful anymore.
not not
That's
a Doctor
sad.
Who apologist anymore.
I mean, I don't think I've ever been an apologist for Doctor Who because I think Doctor Who
You're
is
an
genuinely
observer.
good until we hit these
Doctor
poor.
Who adjacent.
I mean, really, since Capaldi, it's been just not worth it, unfortunately. So I don't know. There's like, I don't even know. I don't know what I am anymore. I'm a Doctor Who fan that's just
I'm a man without a doctor, darn it.
begging for scraps, man. I don't know. So we'll do the last thing I watched. Last thing I watched was I did watch the first 2 episodes because they are now dubbed of My Hero Academia. I cannot say anything about them.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about
This,
these.
it's I 100% understand Jared's position. So what I deemed was, or what I thought through in my head was the character we were introduced the end of the last season. Very cool, very crazy, and I can't believe we started 2 episodes. We're already doing crap like this. Like, it was awesome. I watched it right
Mhm.
before this.
To be
Oh my
fair,
goodness.
it's already been spoiled like on the internet.
I'm
Like I
sure,
went on
but-
Twitter
Yeah,
and I
Not
yeah,
for
but
me, I don't know
not
what to
for
say.
Joseph and
Yeah,
Right,
I
I
don't
know.
know
too.
anything.
but I was already just like, really? Do we have to like spoil that immediately out of the gate? Cool, awesome, appreciate it, guys.
But like like I said, like I finished Super, I watched Doctor Who, and then I get on these 2 episodes, and I'm like, heck yes, man, back to some golden.
So this is what good anime is like.
good anything, man. I don't know. I was very excited. Gonna be very sad that I don't have all of them to watch in one go though, because that's how I did last season.
Yeah.
But It is. I also prefer like watching it week to week because I feel like I retain more information. When I binge stuff, it just and the next thing's going, And so I like being able to
Weird.
digest the episode and then the next one come digest it.
Weirdly enough, that's how I'm watching 3 anime series right now, is week by week. And honestly, I have an appreciation for each episode now because I'm looking forward to them. So
Yeah, that too. Also, you look forward to
I've
it.
reverted back to the original programming, Joseph.
It's happening, man.
Netflix has
Except
broken us.
Except no commercial breaks. I will say I'm spoiled on that part.
That's
so.
true. That's nice. But
That's true. I like bumpers and stuff. We'll never get those back.
but love it, of course, obviously so far. And whenever you get just the line, the final fight is coming. I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So much to talk about, but people aren't
It's
up
just
to
like,
date. And
yeah,
you're
what
like,
do you do? You're probably what, like 3 episodes ahead of that? 2 episodes?
two.
I think they're 2. Yeah, they're 2 because
Yeah.
for some reason th're 2 behind a dub. I'm like,
I know they
Get
used to
'em
simulcast. I
I
don't know why
know.
they can't do that.
get your
I don't
butt
know why they're
together,
not
put it
either.
out there. I don't know. Very excited though. Anyway, that's all I had.
Make us sad.
Super's over, guys.
Super's
Super's
over.
over.
Now we can get the
Good job,
Star
Michael.
Trek.
We
You're
get back
so
Star
close
Trek.
to
No
the
more
best
Super.
episode.
The best? That's not
The
encouraging.
That's subjective, Joseph. Come on.
Well, it was the #1 on my list. Mahler just started Star Trek, and he just saw that episode, and he said it was great too. So
There you go.
I feel totally justified.
I'm not denying that it's a great episode. I'm just anyway.
We'll
Can't
see.
get to that yet. Can't get
We'll
to that.
see. Yeah. Who wants to go next?
I'll go
You okay?
because I'm still on anime, so I want to.
That's a
keep
good
talking about anime.
transition.
Before you start,
Yeah.
think of an anime I should watch next. Not right now.
Okay.
but
Me
you
and
know.
Johnny said, so you have our votes.
I don't remember what you guys said.
What'd you say?
Silver Spoon.
Oh, I've always heard of that.
Same creator as Full Metal, so
But not anything.
Same
like
vibe.
Fullmetal
Same
whatsoever.
vibe.
it's Full Metal just farming, Thomas. That's what it is.
Sure.
They fuse cheese to a little girl, and it's like a cheese
Yeah.
girl.
You
So-
have the one I recommended, Michael. So
What did you recommend?
Mushoku Tensei.
Oh. So I'm keeping up with everything, My Hero, Bartender, stuff like that. But I wanna say that I finished Zeta. Finally finished that.
It looked
Um,
brutal. I saw that.
I'm so proud of you, Jared.
there is implied brutality, and then they showed brutality at the end. I was like, "Geez." And they did not shield anyone from the brutality. There were some characters that died, and I was like, "Geez, man."
So when
Like,
you were talking to me about like it's getting really dark. I'm trying to like hold it in, like, dude.
Well, it was dark in the beginning because I was like, "Oh yeah, they're gassing people. They're just like war crimes left and right." The Titans, man, they do not care
the
about human
actual
life.
fascists.
Yeah. I was like, man, and I was like, Jared was cool. I liked him, and then he just got really bad. He just did not care. And then, there was a battle where like, everyone was fighting. There was no like, civilians, and Camille kills his friend, and he's like, murderer. And I was like, you all signed up for this. He's not a murderer. He's fighting the war. And then, later on, Jared kills one of Camille's friends, and Camille's like, murderer, and Jared's like, he just laughs. He's like, I was like, dude, this is the same thing. What? There's one point where, because the whole series, Char is pretending to be
Quattro
Quattro.
Vagina.
and
Jared, who could he be?
that ace pilot, just golden god of
We
pilots.
never know.
There's one episode where he's finally like, I am Char, and everyone's gasp. Noah Bright, I thought knew because he mentioned it in a prior episode.
I thought all the original
And,
like white base crew knew, because it's like because even Amuro was like,
Hey.
oh,
Whoa, Thomas! Whoa!
I believe they're Japanese. Thomas.
But
Wait,
Noah Bright was like,
what'd I say?
"Whoa." You
What'd I
said white
say?
base.
yeah.
They were making it a race joke.
Oh.
But Noah was like, my God. And then Camille, yeah, who else would it be?
Who else is it?
Well, when he was like, man, I wonder, like the whole series, he was like, man, I wish I could meet this shark guy. And then just in that episode, yeah, duh. And I was like,
So
okay.
have you heard Richie Branson's song for that one?
No.
He's got a whole remix of Char's speech from that. It's not the UN, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But he's got a whole song based in that, and it's pretty awesome.
And then what was interesting, the last thing I'll talk about is they introduced the character way late in this series, and I was like, it was like 10 to the last episode. They introduced this female pilot who claims to be 4.
That's her name, right?
No, that she was from like the beginning. I was talking about
Sorry.
Rosemary or whatever her name is. Rosemary. Claiming to be Camille's brother, and then you find out, and she has like a picture, and you're like, oh, I guess they are related, but then she was just brainwashed or whatever. And I was like, they introduced a character early, and then Sarah was like pissing me off, dude. She was like, Lord, this stupid like pretty boy general, I don't know what he was, Lord Paptimus. She just loved this dude. Like they were like, he's evil, we're gonna kill him, and she's like, no, you can't do that. And of course, the young pilot's in love with her. And he's like, dude, he's evil. Love me instead. I'm nice to you. And she's like, nah, man, I love this pretty boy. He's got purple hair. You can't compete with that. Poor guy. This poor child, dude. He had a terrible life. But it was great. I don't think I'm gonna watch Double Zeta because it's just too much. It's too much, and then it's a whole new cast. And I liked how they ended Zeta because it wasn't a happy ending. Especially it didn't even like give much hope for Camille. It's just sad. It just said Finn.
I thought you were gonna say humanity.
I like how it just ended. It just Finn, and then everyone was sad, but it was good. And then so I'll talk about music now. Just a bunch of music dropped. Childish Gambino had a new album, so I gave that a shot. The first 2 songs I was going into it, it was good. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Upbeat. I liked it. And then it just took a nap. Just after those 2 songs, the album just took a nap. And I was like, this is boring. And then there's like 2 more good songs, but like I tried it, listened to it a few times, just couldn't get into it. Besides those few songs. And then 21 Pilots dropped an album, which we talked about, me, Joseph, and Jonah. But then like 2 other albums dropped at the same day. Lenny Kravitz dropped an album called Blue Electric Light.
Lenny Kravitz did?
Yeah.
Really?
First half of that album is good. It's nothing like crazy. It just sounds like him back in the day. But it wasn't bad. And then Bring Me the Horizon dropped a new album the same day as well.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Called Post-Human Next Gen. Very weeb vibes coming from this album. Very weebish. I was like, my God, did they just watch anime in the 90s? Early 2000s. But there's some good songs.
I'm not gonna lie, their song for Death Stranding is probably my favorite for
It's
the
really
Death
good.
Stranding soundtrack.
I used to like them a lot, but I feel like ever since Bad Omens came out, Bad Omens just does it better for like what they do. But there's some good songs. There's one called Kool-Aid. That's really good. And then they have one with Under Oath, who's featured on one.
They're
Ever
still
since
around?
Kinda cool.
ever since Under Oath came back, don't like them. They just make pop metal, and it's just not as good as their old stuff.
That's hard hitting.
Yeah. Then they had one song with Little Uzi Vert, if you guys know who that is. He had a song with them featured on his last album, which is pretty good. But that was a good song. And I think that's all. Just all the features were good. But it was cool seeing all these albums dropping and being able to hear all this cool stuff. Because last year it was very sparse with new albums. It's like one every quarter, and it wasn't that much.
Did you listen to Darren King's album?
Did he have one that?
He
This
had one
year?
came
Full
out
album?
Friday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently he sings on like 7 tracks.
Dang.
Really?
I was like,
Gotta look that up.
I haven't listened to it yet though, but
I will report back next week.
he called it his name is called DK the drummer.
Yeah.
Is what his band thing is called. So
Oh, nice. So got a big talking point on YouTube. There's a YouTuber I follow called In Praise of Shadows. He put out a video called Bad Conservative Horror Movies, and it was a 3-hour video. So I was like, oh, cool. I like his stuff. I like him as a YouTuber. It's a 3-hour video. That's awesome. I'll listen to it while I clean, cook, and stuff like that. And apparently he just like lost his mind. So let me start off by saying in the beginning of the video, he talks about how like he reviewed The Hills Have Eyes, and his take was kind of taken poorly by his fans and stuff like that. And they're kind of saying some pretty bad things about him and like kind of just giving him a hard time. A lot of his viewers dropped and stuff like that. And I was like, oh man, that sucks. These people are kind of being jerks to you. Like, I feel pretty bad. And then he gets into the meat of the meat of the video. And it's just like he's like, horror isn't meant for like conservatives. It was always liberal. It's about, but horror is really about his love and stuff like that. And so he was just going off on some directors and just like movies. And I was like, that's weird, but
It's a weird take.
Yeah. I was like, his take, it's cool. And then he kept going, and I was like, I wonder what this is about. And then he talks about Blumhouse, and like everyone knows that it's just like popcorn movies, nothing artistic about it. But he was just talking about how like it's just devoid of all creativity. There's nothing, there's no like actual substance to it. And then he talked about the actual like the founder of the studio, and then like his viewpoints on like politics and stuff like that, and just how like the whole studio doesn't have as much representation as it should. Like there's not a lot of black directors, there's not a lot of female directors and stuff like that. And I was like, it doesn't sound like they're doing it on purpose. It just sounds like that's how it is. And then he was just saying things about like how he was on Ben Shapiro show, and then he said some kind of bad things about Ben Shapiro, and I was like, okay, you need to calm down, my guy. And then he goes off on Wendigoon. He tries to take him down like with like stuff that he's been talking about, and just how he's like, he mentioned how he's Christian. He's just like, oh, he gets a free pass because he's a Christian, so everyone like gives him a free pass. And I was like, that's never been a thing. People go off on Christians. Like what are you talking about? And then he mentions the people he like hangs around and like associates with. And then he's just calling them like bad people because most of them are gun tubers, and they're just like right winged and like fascists and like Nazis and stuff like that. And when you're like calling people Nazis, it's like, you obviously like, it's always like, dude, it's never that bad. It's like you're misusing that as like just to slander these people. They're not like that. Like and then just like bad takes on like Nick Crowley, like just randomly, like that dude he just makes horror things, and he's like, oh yeah, he makes like this crap, but it's like, nah, just shows gore and stuff like that. I was like, you all do. That's what horror is about. Like, what are you talking about? And he just goes off on all these YouTubers, and I was like, the whole time I was like, okay, it's just bad take. Like, he just doesn't have the same takes as me. But he was just going off on these guys, and like out of nowhere. And in the beginning of the video, he was talking about like how people hear one thing about somebody, and they just like write him off forever, because that's what his fans are doing to him. And then he's just doing it to Wendigo and all these YouTubers. And
Weird,
yeah. So I was very disappointed in him. And now there's all these videos popping up like worst take on YouTube
Response
ever.
and stuff,
Yeah. And like
Well,
this guy's
I mean
lost
that I would argue that horror kind of plays off conservatives, just because most of early horror is about the fear of society changes.
Mhm.
So, like Night of the Living Dead,
About communism, isn't it?
yeah, well, that, and it's about racial stuff. It's like white people afraid that like people are gonna take their stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I would argue that it's actually plays to conservative fears, horror movies do. So
But he was just going off on conservatives and stuff like that, and like it's very disappointing. And
But you're talking about Donut. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like,
Um, he criticized Donut Operator, who was an ex cop, and like he does YouTube now because he makes more money doing this now. And he had a video, Donut Operator, that said a predator gets shot in the face with a shotgun. And he's like, in Praise of Shadows was like, look at this poor guy on the thumbnail. He's looks terrified. I was like, this guy's a predator. And you watch the video, and this guy is terrible. He's touching kids and stuff like that. He's a bad person. So why are you defending this video? Like, he's a terrible person. I didn't understand like his take on that. And he's just trying to tear down Wendigoon. And in the comments, you can go down like 2, and you see Wendigoon's response. He's like, I'm sorry these people are saying mean things to you. Please don't do that anymore. He's like, I'm sorry if any of this hurt you. I know you don't like me, but I hope you do better. I like your Slender Man video. I hope you find success and stuff like that. Like, of course, like just a nice guy like Wendigoon always is. I don't know why he went after him. It just sounds like he's like jealous of Wendigoon and all his success. And he just sounds like really envious of these people. And like he just had, it sounds like a lot has been building up on him and he just lashed out.
Yeah.
But it was very disappointing the things he was accusing people of.
he just had some weird takes on like racial stuff too. Like I sent Jared the clip of he's like, this is Appalachia. And basically it's notorious for everybody being insanely racist. In fact, if you're a white person, you can pretty much assume you're racist unless you say you're not. And I'm just like, that's a take. Didn't know that was how you were supposed to approach any person, but okay, cool.
And Wendigoon's like starting up, everyone calls him dad, like because he's like obviously the dad of the group. He's like very mature, like he's like the old man of like the dad of YouTube. And he twisted that into being like, oh, that's a weird sexual thing he's making his fans call him. And I was like, no, dude, do you watch it? Like, he's the dad of YouTube. What are you talking about?
He's literally the youth pastor of the group. That's
Yeah.
that's what he is.
And he was just trying to twist that into something like sexual, and like I was like, dude, just stop. Like,
that's the whole thing is that
surprising, man.
Wendigoon's from like the Appalachia area, and so he's really like obsessed with like the folklore and the horror stuff around Appalachia. Like was it the Appalachia Lights or whatever? I forgot what they're called. But like it's like he's very fascinating ghost stories around Appalachia.
well, Wendigoon's always said that he grew a love of it because his grandfather used to tell him stories about Wendigoons because he was part Native American, so it just like was passed down. But then in Praise of Shadows was like, I'm from Appalachia too. Those aren't part of this Native Americans lore. That's more like Canadian. It has nothing to do with people over here. And so he was like trying to say Wendigoon has no right to talk about this and like stuff like that. And I was like, if that's what his grandfather told him, even if he still has an appreciation for it. He's not making a joke of it. It's just he has an appreciation for it. Why are you going after him for this? And it was just like, it's really ugly. I didn't like it. And it was just like, why do you go after Wendigoon? He's so nice, like to everyone. It's like, it kind of sucked. So I unsubscribed because I went into it trying to like an open mind, trying to be like, oh, he's probably had a bad day, but he just kept going and going and going. And I was like, dude.
Yeah. That's surprising when YouTubers go angry.
Yeah, and I unsubscribed too because I mean I like some of his horror takes. Like I think Jared actually turned me on to him, but I even told Jared like I'm tired of people calling Jews the other N word, not that N word, but the current N word for fascism. And I'm sorry, but I just can't. I'm getting tired of that.
Yeah, it's calling Ben Shapiro that and Turkey Tom, even though he's part Jewish. I was like, what are you talking about?
And not just that, but Turkey Tom's like on the opposite end of Ben Shapiro. Like,
yeah,
he's totally different from him. Like, so obviously you have a racial motivation here from what I can tell. And I kind of get pissed at that. So I'm tired of it. I really am.
Like, I'm sorry those people were mean to you from your video, but like, dude, you don't have to lash out at other people for your crap.
Bunch of crap.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all
that's all for me? Sorry, that's all for me.
Go ahead, Thomas.
So speaking of Donut Operator, I got my dad his Father's Day and his birthday gift. So if you're watching, Dad, tune out. It's one of Donut Operator's t-shirts. It's called a Glockamole Bowl. It has a Glock on there. And my dad's a Glock mechanic, and so I think he'd really appreciate that. So if you listen to this, Dad, you're welcome. But
No.
Yeah,
anyway.
he got him a dad pun shirt.
I did, and that's why I like Donut, is because he's so like off. He's so funny, and he's such a dad. He's like the other dad in that group, and so, yeah, I just thought it was a really funny shirt. Okay, my homework. So I watched Mashuko Tensei's. They had a delay in an episode, and Joseph just leaves all the time when I start talking. Wow.
He's like
Um,
Mashugu Tensei grows leaves.
Gross leaves. But they had a delay in an episode last week, and they had the new one this week. Wasn't very good because it was a traveling episode, and I hate those.
Were they
but-
on a boat?
No, well, it was going to be, but they found a way around it, so there was a teleportation cycle. But it was still, we have to travel to get to the part where the story happens, and I just hate that stuff. Next week though is supposed to be pretty crazy. Then I watched Kaiju number 8, the latest episode, and it was awesome. I'm so like satisfied with this show right now. Like Michael, that's another one you should probably watch too. So just the animation is so good still, and the voice acting's great. I'm really digging it.
Is that on first season or is that a couple?
That's
of-
first season,
okay.
yeah. But they were like on episode 7 now, so you got a bit of a buffer if you want to watch them. And then I decided to try Welcome to Wrexham.
I watched first season of that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, but I'll be honest, the townspeople kind of annoy me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, just they never seem satisfied with, and I understand they've had like a rough time of it, but the amount of money that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney have like dumped into this town, that's like millions and millions of dollars, and they are never satisfied like with their outcomes. I'm like, you guys are just kind of like dicks. Like, I mean, really, they're like, oh well, we've lost 2 of the last 10 games. Like, oh, I just need to shell out some more money for better players. I'm just like, I
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds buy another soccer team? thought
think
heard
so. Yeah, like it was like a women's one. I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
He
somewhere.
is soccer now.
He's soccer.
I feel sorry for Rob McElhenney because that dude is so invested in everything, but he has the least amount of money in the partnership because he's just off of Sunny, and but Ryan has more money, but he's not as invested because Ryan has I guess a quote unquote bigger career, and like they all like make that joke is like, oh, there's Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Reynolds' friend. So
Didn't they put him in Deadpool? I think he put him in Deadpool and Wolverine.
That wouldn't
did
surprise
they?
me. I bet he
That'd
I
be
played.
think
funny.
so. Yeah.
But I mean, it is interesting to see like the whole like actual functionality of a soccer team and just the way it's structured. I think the only thing I have learned a lot about soccer, but some of the stuff I just don't like about soccer, how it's played. Like you try to win fouls, which I think is kind of a
Yeah, I
crappy
hate
way
that.
to. I do. I really hate that.
I played soccer my whole life and I freaking hate that.
I was like, we won the foul. I'm just like, you're a piece of crap. Cool. So, it's very interesting, but also just, but really, the townspeople just annoy me. I'm just like, wow, you guys are just really ungrateful for all the effort that these people have put into this. But
It's
it's
also,
like, oh, but it's our town. I'm like, cool.
it's also a very long show.
Yeah,
There are-
it is.
I expected like 12 episodes. It gets up into the 20s, and I was just like,
Yeah.
like late 20s. I was like,
Really?
oh my gosh.
And the newest season is like 45 episodes, or
Is it?
45 minutes per episode. So it's like, oh
Jeez.
god.
Yeah, kind of.
Right.
I enjoyed it, but it was just like I kind of just lost it. Although it would have been fun to watch it as it's going, because I don't know if you care for spoilers about their season.
Yeah, they earned the
Okay,
promotion.
yeah, they like had victory and everything like that, and they've been doing well, but it's just I don't know why. I just kind of lost my interest at the end of season 1. Just like
A little bit.
I'm okay
Yeah.
with it now.
I just don't really like the townspeople, especially when they well, no,
Did
they
I mention the townspeople?
well, they had basically
God.
ownership. They had ownership of the Wrexham team, and then they pretty much like trashed it. Like they didn't take care of it, didn't put money into it, nothing. They just wanted the rights to the name so they wouldn't go away. But then like, oh, we raised $100,000 to purchase it, and they did nothing with it. So it's like, so you're just not better off now? Because why? So I don't know. I am still interested in see where it goes because like the promotion was pretty cool. Like because I finished the second season.
Okay.
But I'm honestly like kind of with you. I'm just like, but I'm not really hopping to see the third season yet. So
I feel like a lot of it was also just that kind of like need to fill drama for a show, and I was like,
yeah,
like they make things bigger than they are. They bring tension to stuff. Like it's a reality TV show is what it is. And I'm like,
yeah.
I was kind of
Yeah.
just done with it at that point.
One of my favorite episodes though was when the
The townspeople got killed.
The rioters came.
Frankenstein was let loose upon the villagers. No, it's when their general manager of like the club goes on vacation, and basically it's left to
Beach
that one-
episode.
yeah. Well, no, it's funny they do have beach, but they leave everything in charge of Rob's like writer, like his executive guy, and literally everything that goes wrong can go wrong in this 1 week that the manager is out of town. Like Rob has like an air balloon that he lets loose, and they're like, you have no idea how many laws you have just broken by letting a blimp up into the sky. Like that is some serious violations, like jail time. So, but it was an interesting watch, but again, I was annoyed half the time. So,
Why? Was it the townspeople?
yes, it was in fact the townspeople.
Who's your favorite townsperson?
None of them, honestly. And then I watched some Justice League because Joseph was talking about it with the whole Batman stuff.
I
Watched-
just talked about
Oh, did you?
earlier.
Oh.
He was watching it while we were doing the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Watch part of the first season, and then like the one where they go back with Vandal Savage is one of my favorite ones. But what's kind of funny is that I remember watching that when I was a kid, and I was super pumped about it because they meet Sergeant Rock, and I was a huge Sergeant Rock fan from like the little like Reader Digest booklets type stuff, and so I really like that that little tie-in that they have in. And then we're gonna go into some movies real quick. Weirdly enough, I watched both of these movies kind of back to back. And they kind of have some stuff to deal with each other. One is Lord of War with Nicolas Cage.
Jared Leto.
And Jared Leto. And randomly doesn't really do much in the movie, to be honest with you. It's very good, except for the ending. Didn't really care for the ending all that much. It's just a lot of buildup and not a lot happens. But there's a really cool scene where the Berlin Wall falls down, and because that's how it happened, it fell down. And Nick Cage's character goes into the Iron Curtain and starts buying up all the Russian munitions from Ukraine. But it's very interesting. And then I watched War Dogs, which is kind of like that movie, but like 10 years later, basically. But the same thing. I didn't like the ending very much. It just wasn't great.
Who's in that one?
Miles
Teller and Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill and Anna de Armas in like one of her first
Oh
movies.
yeah.
Like she didn't even speak
Really?
English yet. So I will say that Miles Teller is like this like slob who just smokes pot all day, and he pulls Anna de Armas. I'm just like,
That's
what?
usually how it goes.
Yeah, I know.
This is a fantasy.
Yeah. Honestly, Jonah Hill is probably one of the best parts in that movie. Just I think that's one of his best roles. He's like this really weird guy, has a weird laugh. Like, I was like, what the hell? There's this really good scene where he tries to buy weed from these gangbangers, and they just kind of stiff him. And he's like, "Hey, where's my stuff, man?" And the gangbanger pulls out like a Glock. He's like, "Oh, that's funny. It's cute." Goes back to his car, pulls out an MP5K, and starts shooting up in the air. And the the gangbangers just like run off. He's like, "What? I thought we were gonna hang out. What's up?" So, good movies, but again, the endings not the strongest. And then got some YouTubes. It's one called Lady Knight the Brave. She's a video essayist. And weirdly enough, she did a video on A Knight's Tale, and just kind of a whole retrospective of that coming from like the early 2000s to now, and kind of how ahead of its time it was, because she says like it's almost structured like a musical, but there are like no real musical numbers in it. But there's this diegetic weird stuff where it has modern music inside of a medieval setting. And one of the complaints that the producers had to the director was like, why aren't you using classical like horns and stuff? He's like, this is like in the 800s. Horns were not invented yet. So why are you complaining about me having futuristic music when technically the horns would be futuristic music? So I thought that was a really interesting perspective on that, but it's a very good video. I really recommend it. And then I watched some Fat Electrician, because of course I did. Yeah, he's bad. Actually, he's
Or is that
actually
a PH? Fat.
Fat. He had one about the Ghost of Bataan, which is like this. He was an officer stationed in the Philippines during World War II. The Japanese invaded the Philippines. Basically, the entire command structure of the United States military goes, nothing left. And he's like, well, I'm going to take the Filipino commandos and we're just going to, go commandoing. And he basically hid out in the woods for about 2 years and just I think he has 166 confirmed kills. Like the guy was just a beast. And then he got captured because he got shot twice, like in the shins, stabbed, and had dysentery. And then the Japanese captured him and then put him in charge of like the labor camp for like the POWs. But it was like one of the best camps for POWs because the Japanese were afraid of this guy. Even though he's like barely hanging on, they were still afraid of this guy because he didn't surrender. They captured him because he was like passed out. So he had this weird loophole in the Bushido Code of Honor where, because a lot of Japanese prisoners, when they were taken prisoner, were like treated like worse because they surrendered. He didn't technically surrender. He was just passed out. So they took him. And so he technically had higher status than all the other prisoners. They still thought of him as a soldier, but they also knew who he was. He's like, this guy has killed a lot of people. So let's just kind of let him run things. And he did. And then another video essayist that I watched, her name's Caitlin Dowdy. She's a historian. She did a good video on the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald and how like that song came about. It's really good. But the one that I watched this time was I don't know if you've heard of it, the Hunley, the HL Hunley, which is the first combat submarine ever used. It's back during the Civil War. Weirdly enough, the Confederates were the ones that had it, and it killed 3 crews because like the first 2 were too experimental, like to see if it would work, killed all those guys. And then the unsuccessful thing that they did is they sunk a ship, but then it also sunk as well. But what's kind of interesting about it is that it took like almost 150 years for the Hunley to be dragged back up. But it was so degraded that they actually have to keep it in like a solution of hydrogen something, I forgot. But it's almost toxic to be around because of the preservatives that they keep around it. But what's really, really cool is that the captain of the Hunley had a gold piece from when he was shot. It actually saved his life. And so he kept it on him. And they actually recovered the gold piece. And it says on there, 1862 Shiloh, because he was at the Battle of Shiloh. It's like my preserver, and it's actually intact. They actually have it in the museum. It's a very, very interesting subject. And then we're gonna go to my gun tubers real quick because why not? Donut Operator had a video, and this one was called The Last Samurai. this guy is at a motel. He is probably out of his mind on meth, and he's like in the parking lot with the samurai sword of a hotel, waving it around at guests. And he's like, "Hey, can we just put down the samurai sword?" And all the cops are like, "Hey, man, just can we just not do that?" He's like, "I have to protect her honor." And they're like, "Oh God, it's a weeb." And they end up having to shoot the guy because the guy just comes at them with the samurai sword. So very odd. And then the last one was Brandon Herrera because he got called I guess we're this far along. He got called a Nazi by one of his competitors, and he gets very agitated when people call him that because he's not one. So he did one to spite them. He did the STG-44, which is the German assault rifle that was used during World War II. It's the first ever assault rifle ever produced. He's just like, if this doesn't get people angry, well, I don't care, and just does a review on that. So, very interesting gun. Is actually very cool because he got an original one. It's actually marked as an MP-44. Weirdly enough, Hitler hated the STG-44, so they marketed it as an MP-44 to try to trick him. Weird history behind it. I don't really understand why, but that's how it happened. So, that's all I got.
Cool. So the
Oh,
finish.
I also finished an entire semester of homework in a week and a half. My brain is on fire.
That's
So.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the
Ball.
townspeople?
The
Yes.
So, real fast, watch. So I'm told that Aaron Eckhart is now an action star, and so I got to go watch those. So I started with The Bricklayer, which is him and the girl from Vampire Diaries. This movie works if you pretend that the Bricklayer is a superhero, because he's like throwing bricks at guys, he's using the trowel to stab people. He chokes a guy out with a measuring tape. I don't know what the heck's going on in the plot. There's like a CIA guy who hates the CIA now, so he's gonna expose
Mess with the
them or
bricklayer.
something. I don't know. The Bricklayer is a superhero that uses bricklaying materials.
Next is going to be the drywaller.
Then I watched a movie with Mel Gibson. It was called On the Line. So there's another Saban films.
Oh no.
Yeah, so you got to give it to him for having the balls to do this. So this movie is about a shock jock, right? So he's working at the radio station, works at night, and he's kind of this rude kind of guy that's very confrontational and stuff like that, makes shock jock kind of jokes and stuff like that. Well, someone calls in and he's really mad at him. At first he's like, I'm gonna do something that I might regret, and they're like, oh no, this guy's gonna hurt himself or something like that, so they're like, keep him on the line. But then it turns out he's mad at the Mel Gibson character.
Whatever
So,
for.
yeah, Mel Gibson's like, why? What did I do? They've hired these new British, for some reason, a British guy to do the soundboard, or producer. He's the producer. That comes back later. That's why I mentioned it. But anyway, so this guy's on with Mel Gibson, and he's making threats against his family. Gibson's like, call the police, I'll try to keep him on the line so he doesn't hurt my family. The guy's like, go on the ledge of the building and jump off. So Mel Gibson goes up there and he's like, I don't want to do this. I'm scared as heck. And then he tells the British producer, hey, push Mel off the building and I won't kill the family. So Mel pretends to jump off, but he comes back.
He's like, oh no.
No. Like, did he jump off? Yeah, he totally jumped off. But then a drone flies up above the building, and he's like, you guys lied. He didn't push him off. He's still alive. So this guy is like a super hacker. He's hacking into the building. They called the cops. The cops went to Mel's house, but the family wasn't there, and he's like, where are they? And then the guy calls and he's like, I'm in the building, fool. And so him and the family are in the building. So Mel and the producer got to run around the building and try to find this guy from hurting the family. They finally find him, and he's like, "I got bombs, man, and I'm gonna blow this place up." And they're like, "Don't do that. Let's talk about it. You want
Was this
me?"
guy Sinbad from Jingle All the Way?
This guy should have been played by someone menacing, like a menacing voice or something, but he just kind of had this wimpy kind of voice, so it didn't really help the movie. Anyway, he's like, put the bombs on the producer because they're like bomb vests. So he's like, put the bombs on there. The SWAT guy comes in. The SWAT guy's got the vest, and they put it on the producer. And then the SWAT guy is like, yo, we could talk this out. But then they shoot the SWAT guy. So the SWAT guy's dead. He's on the ground. Other people have been murdered during this stuff. I should mention that during the building and stuff, like the maintenance guy and stuff like that. Okay. So they got the bomb on the guy, right? And the guy's like peeing his pants. And then they're talking and they're like, surprise! It was all a joke. It was a practical joke because Mel always plays practical jokes on his new employees. The SWAT guy's not really dead. He was an actor. Everyone who we thought were dead is alive. Everyone's happy and laughing at the producer. They're like, ha ha, we got you. The producer's like crying and he's gonna leave. And then so he's got the door, and Mel's like, "No, come back, man. Come on, we'll be nice now that
Just
we
a prank, bro.
yeah, we just hazed you." But the producer's like all mad, and he slips down the stairs, and he like hits his head, and then they're like, "Oh my!"
And the
goodness."
soundbar guy was like, boing, 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 boing.
We're like, "Oh no, we killed this guy." Mel's like freaking out. He's like, "Oh, we killed this poor guy, this poor British guy."
Was it a double prank?
You're onto something. So Mel goes out. He's gonna leave the building. He sees the station manager, right? And she's like, "I told you to stop doing these pranks. Get in this car. We gotta drive you away because the people outside are really mad at you, and they're gonna, you're gonna go to jail for this." So he gets in the car and he's like, "What am I gonna do? My life's over." And then they're like, "Happy birthday!" It was Mel Gibson's birthday the whole time. And he's like, "Oh, you got me, man."
Was he English the whole time, Joseph?
No, the producer's English. He wasn't English, but
Oh,
yeah, this movie was nuts, man. You think it's a thriller? That's what originally why I watched it, because it's like a thriller movie with Mel Gibson. Okay, I'm okay. Mel is the only one in this movie who can act. She put like his whole heart into this movie. But it turns out it was just all jokes, man. They did the ballsy thing and they just made this whole movie just about jokes. So that was crazy.
If we ever get famous, I'm gonna do that kind of stuff.
Watched a series called A Man in Full on Netflix. It was based on a Tom Wolfe novel. It was not very good. It felt like two different shows squeezed in together. One's like a poor man's Severance, and then the other one's like this legal drama, and it just didn't work at all. It just didn't mesh.
I
for
like
what
that
they were
review,
doing.
Joseph. I'm not gonna lie.
Which
I
one?
watched this. I watched this movie. It was not very good.
It was a show. It had Jeff Daniels. You know I love Jeff Daniels, but he wasn't
That's
very
true.
good.
He is good.
He was playing a Southerner. I guess that's something. Me and Jonah continued with our DCAU watch through. So we watched Batman Sub-Zero. It's actually Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero. I did not remember this. I've seen it. I know I've seen it like when it was on Cartoon Network or something. So I didn't really remember.
It was on
Every-
like every weekend.
Every VHS trailer ever, by the way.
So I didn't remember. I watched it. I did not like it. It didn't have the Batman theme for one thing. It had like this very generic music, but then they licensed like 50s pop, and I'm like, what the heck is why'd you use that on that instead of spending the money to get the Batman theme? Barbara Gordon's voice is different from the show, the two actors who played her on the show. So that kind of threw me off. There is some terrible CG, back then when they tried to do CG. There's this part where the bat plane is like lifting up, and they like show Batman and Robin in there. But Robin's got like a square head. It looks like he's a Minecraft character. I'm like, what? Like, what? The best part's the end. They fight Mr. Freeze on an oil rig, and it's a pretty standard Batman action scene. So that was the best part. And then Jared messaged us, and he's like, "Hey, Mahler and the Drinker do Star Trek movies," and I was like, I knew that, but I had never watched them, so I went and I'm watching them backwards. I watched Star Trek 6, my favorite one, Undiscovered Country. I watched Star Trek 5, no one's favorite one.
William
Oh.
Shatner's favorite one.
Yeah, The Final Frontier. And then I watched Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, everyone's parents' favorite one, the
Hey,
one with the whales.
hey,
Favorite one?
I love 4.
It's
4
good.
and
It's
two-
just
4 and
it's
2,
funny.
baby. 4 and
It's
2.
funny.
Actually, I
But
like
yeah.
one a lot.
Do what?
I like one a lot.
Oh, you like one?
One.
A lot of people
Jared?
do. A lot of people have come around on one. I need to
Yeah.
watch it again because I haven't seen it. in a
There's
long
this
time.
sweet music in one towards the end that sounds like Ganondorf is gonna just take over Hyrule.
You just like that transporter scene where they're like, "Ah!"
I don't remember honestly. I'm not gonna lie.
But
I watched 6 when they were doing that one, and then I went back to Wrath of Khan because they don't do the first one.
they don't do the
Mm.
first one though. So I'm going backwards. You're going all over the place.
All over
but,
the place.
but they're fun. They give you a lot of information while they're watching them. It's just cool to see. So that was all I did. I did drive the Phoenix for some reason. I just decided, hey, it's Memorial Day weekend. Just drive the Phoenix. It was fun. The hills outside of Phoenix are awesome
They
because
have
there's like
eyes.
all these rocks everywhere and these hills and there's like curves, so you feel like you're playing Forza because you're going like
Oops.
100 miles down these hills. It's fun. So don't speed, but if you have to, go down those hills. That's fun.
Joseph has one of those what is it called? Those turn guys with him that has like the booklet. Like left turn, right turn, left turn. Coming up at 90 feet.
There was dudes on motorcycles, man, going down those hills. It was awesome. So it was like pretty freaking sweet drive. So.
Did you feel part of their gang?
Well, they all like stopped at the bottom of the hill, and I passed them. I'm like, yeah, I won. All right. That's all I got. You guys got any last words or
I did forget.
concerns?
Oh,
Oh, forgot.
I
I was just
forgot.
gonna make a joke. Just go ahead,
Mine,
Michael, I'm
mine's
sorry.
a joke too. It's okay. I forgot. Well, it's a true, but it's also a joke because of what happened. But at the end of the episode of Doctor Who, the booger monster howled like a wolf, and I was very confused. Everyone was celebrating, like, "Yay, we're alive!" And
You're
it goes,
not.
and it goes,
you're not helping, Michael.
I was like,
Why?
why did it howl? Why is that the voice it decided to take on? It was a
Michael, you're
Coda
not
just looked at me
helping
like,
with this.
"Martin, what are you doing?" Sorry.
Booger monsters.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, don't be like those townspeople, or
That
Thomas
true.
will hate you.
that's true.
He will not.
Be
Either-
grateful for Ryan.
Either
Reynolds
they need
people.
to watch out, or Thomas needs to watch out. I'm not sure which.
I forgot to mention Ryan Reynolds got me Paramount Plus because he's always trying to get me to like him, but just Paramount Plus, man. Give me HBO Max or
About to
something like
say.
that, or Crunchyroll or something.
It's not the.
Oh well, we got to the end of the show.
We're here.
So like,
Happy
subscribe,
Memorial
and
Day.
notify. What?
I said Happy Memorial Day.
Oh yeah, happy Memorial Day! Thanks to all those who fell in service defending the country. So we salute you. So like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff to come. And we will see you next time. Bye.